Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to discuss Russell Brand, and I'm sure you're aware now of the allegations that have come out about him. Allegations of SA that include R. So I did watch the Dispatches documentary, and Russell Brand was pre-warned about the documentary. They asked him for comment, and that's why he decided to come up with that video statement. Take a look.
I've received two extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of. And we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out, Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth. Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices. And I mean my voice along with your voice. I don't mind them using my books and my stand-up to talk about my promiscuous consensual conduct in the past. What I seriously refute are these very, very serious criminal allegations. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are witnesses whose evidence directly contradicts the narratives that these two mainstream media outlets are trying to construct, apparently in what seems to me to be a coordinated attack.
Okay, so as you can imagine, as soon as these allegations came to light, it immediately divided people. You had the people who, as far as they're concerned, there's no smoke without fire, so therefore he must be guilty. You had the people who said, I'm going to wait till there's more information because, there aren't any police reports, there aren't any charges that have been brought against him. And then you had the other camp who were saying that this is a smear campaign, this is the media, this is what the media does. When people don't play their game, when people don't go along with their narrative, they smear people. As Russell Brand said there himself, we hear about Joe Rogan, they're calling him right-winger and all of these things. Now, Russell Brand, he said that he doesn't vote. He's always been someone who doesn't go along with politics. I certainly wouldn't call him a conservative, but he's definitely somebody who seeks the truth. He's somebody who likes to highlight the truth. He's somebody who likes to question things, as he's done with his YouTube channel over the years. And one thing that I noticed in the documentary, they spoke about his YouTube channel towards the end, and they said that he has a YouTube channel where he discusses conspiracy theories. And I'm thinking there's a lot more to it than that. He discusses the news. He discusses the media. He discusses topics that affect all of us. It's not just him discussing conspiracy theories. And notice how anything that doesn't go with the mainstream narrative is a conspiracy theory. When people said that COVID came from a lab in China, that was a conspiracy theory. When people got information about Hunter Biden's laptop, that was a conspiracy theory, all of which have been stated as fact now, have been accepted to be fact. But once upon a time, they were conspiracy theories. So if you want to say he's discussing conspiracy theories that eventually prove to be right, then fine. But in saying that, they obviously seek to discredit him. They seem to have him down as some sort of lunatic who spews nonsense, on his YouTube channel all day. Now, one thing I will say, the Dispatches documentary was these women giving their accounts, these women telling their stories. And obviously I'm not against that, but we do have to remember that no charges have been filed. So basically they're leaving it up to the viewer to determine whether they believe these women or not. And if you don't believe them, that brings up a conflict because you want to believe people who come up with these allegations. You want to believe people who are victims. You want to believe people who have been through such heinous crimes. You don't want to dismiss them. And we don't want to discourage women from coming forward and telling their story. But of course, you do have people who are questioning, why now? You do have people who are saying, why not go to the police instead of the press? And those are valid points. Those are valid points. But at the same time, we want to believe people who have been victimized. We don't want to victimize them further by then accusing them of lying. Now, Russell Brand has made no secret of his past. He's made no secret of that. The whole industry is aware of it. It's pretty hard to be neutral when you have followed Russell Brand for years. You've listened to him on his YouTube channel. You've listened to him in interviews. You've listened to him call out the hypocrisy, in particular on the left. You've listened to him call out news organizations and their hypocrisy, their bias, their refusal to report the facts rather than report a slanted version of the information. Propagandists, you've seen him call out propagandists. You've seen him call out, companies like BlackRock, ESG, that kind of thing. You've seen him address all of those things. So when you agree with him with all of that, you're inclined to think it's a smear campaign. You're automatically inclined to think that, especially when it's purely by the media. This is trial by media. This isn't something where we're looking at, the charges that have been filed, indictments, court documents. And that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at this through the lens of the media. And yes, these are women who have come forward, they're telling their story, but ultimately, this is Channel 4 when it comes to dispatches. And these are various news outlets that are reporting this story. So we have various reactions. So this person posted his video saying, Russell Brand has not R-ed any woman. He used to be what we call a womanizer, promiscuous. In his own words, his drive and incentive back then was the exact opposite of forcing a woman. His game was to flirt and seduce. He was obviously skillful at it and practiced that openly for the world to see. This is clear to anyone who has a functioning brain, some life experience, and the ability to assess easily available information. I rarely waste my energy on tabloid stories, but this is provoking me to speak out. This is a smear campaign. The word journalist has lost its value. The word R and victim shouldn't. One of many sad consequences of these false attacks is that they ruin the validity of genuine accusations from victims that truly have been traumatized. And Elon Musk, he said, I support Russell Brand. That man is not evil. So there was a joint investigation through the Sunday Times, as well as the Channel 4 documentary Dispatches. And they basically put forward everything they found. And apparently this was done over a few years. One woman alleges that Brand R-ed her against a wall in his Los Angeles home. She was treated at a crisis center on the same day, according to medical records. And there were text messages that were released. These text messages, they say, were verified by journalists. Text messages show that in the hours after leaving his house, she told Brand that she had been scared by him and felt taken advantage of, adding, when a girl says no, it means no. Brand replied, he was very sorry. So as far as they are concerned, that text message is an admission of guilt. He's saying he's very sorry after she described the very scenario that makes it, something that was against her will. A second woman alleges that Brand assaulted her when he was 31 and she was 16 and still at school. She said he referred to her as the child during an emotionally abusive and controlling relationship that lasted for about 3 months. And the documentary is very, very graphic. They describe the situation in graphic detail, just to warn you if you're going to watch it. The alleged victim describes what happened, and then they go to him doing stand-up, where he's talking about things that kind of align with what they're saying happened to them. A third woman claims that he essayed her while she worked with him in Los Angeles, and that he threatened to take legal action if she told anyone else about her allegation. The fourth described being essayed by Brand and him being physically and emotionally abusive towards her. I mean, there was one woman who said that he attempted to force himself on her. And she was screaming really loudly, and there were people outside waiting for them. And she said that one of them admitted to hearing her screaming, but was too scared to intervene. It kind of just froze. So at least one woman admits that she has witnesses. Obviously, that person hasn't come forward. So that was the gist of the documentary. And it was basically the women giving a lot of details about what allegedly happened to them. So for me personally, I don't like trial by media. I don't like trial by documentary. It's put people in a position where they are led to decide if they're going to believe these women or not. And it's a conflict. Sorry for not being able to actually say the word because it will get flagged by YouTube. So you have people who just say, you know what, I'm going to believe these women because they have made these accusations and we have to believe women. But you get the other people who say, we know what the media is capable of. We know that the smear campaigns that they have waged on other people in the past, and I need more. And I do lean towards that side, to be honest. I do need more. I understand why people don't come forward. It's very, very hard to prove SA or R. And a lot of cases, are unsuccessful in court. When you're brave enough to come forward and then the case crumbles, it makes the woman feel that she wasted her time coming forward. And it deters others from coming forward. So I understand that some women don't come forward because they know that it's just their word against the perpetrator. That's all they have. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, that's not enough when it comes to court, especially if it's against a celebrity who's very powerful, who's very influential, who people love. And I'm not saying that there should be a limit by which we believe somebody. If they don't come forward within a year, we don't believe them. No, I don't agree with that. I believe it, whatever it takes, even if it's 30 years. We know cases of children who have gone through, assault of various kinds. And when they're adults and they get an understanding of what happened to them, then they come forward. So I would never say that there should be a limit, by which somebody should come forward or we don't believe them. No, I actually believe that people who harm others, whether it's now or decades from now, they should be held accountable. But ultimately, they've left it up to the viewers, they've left it up to the public who go over this information to decide if they believe these women. That's it. So these are the text messages that many consider to be very damning because he says, I'm very sorry. When a girl says no, it means no. So that in itself is her saying what happened to her, that she was hard, that this was not consensual. And then for him to then say, I'm very sorry, that in itself people take as an admission of guilt. And of course you have people saying that, how do we know that these are the text messages? This would have been from 2012. So did she keep her old phone and they were able to extract these text messages? Or did she just have, did she print them out perhaps? We're supposed to just believe the journalist because it says that it was verified by journalists. If there was an investigation, a police investigation, where they have all of their technology to verify these text messages, that would be more believable. But, people are saying that text messages can be fabricated, they can be photoshopped. But for some people, this is enough evidence. That's the choice of the viewer. In watching all of this unfold, you have to decide for yourself if it's enough evidence for you. So we have Simon here. Again, I really respect Simon's reporting. And, he's asking questions. He never gives his opinion. He just asks questions. And this is one of the questions he's asking. Many may not remember this. Julian Assange was suddenly accused of R after he began exposing government abuse of power, fraud, and corruption via WikiLeaks. One woman said she was half asleep, just like Russell Brand. The corrupt media convicted him before any court hearing. So this is the issue. It's when the media convicts and there isn't any police investigation. It's always the same story. You go against the establishment, you are about to become a Supreme Court Justice or President of the United States. You're a famous person with a lot of money and influence. The mainstream media comes with allegations of R. And even before any court hearing, they convict you. Now, this is true. This is true. They talk about these allegations day and night as if they could not be false. They smear you so badly that you're almost guilty until proven innocent. The allegations often go back decades. When you get to court, they would say the accuser should not be cross-examined because of privacy concerns. The accuser can try to destroy a famous person, but they cannot be cross-examined. How does that work? Of course, no one supports any physical or essay of a woman or a man. Everyone is against it. But it's interesting how this is always reported when you're against the establishment or belong to the wrong political party. Right now, Assange is still being detained, not because of NER, not because he lied against any government, but because he told the truth. He exposed the government, and they are killing him. They want him to die in detention. The advocates of free speech are actually against any transparency against any free speech. May God help us. It is causing people to look at other cases of when this has happened, and you will find that there are many. Someone posted this saying, "Wonder why Russell Brand's being attacked right now. Watch this clip."
Well,
yes.
Out of respect for you and your show, I've brought some facts. Would you... If you like, they're actually...
You just get the fuck out of here. This is not the place.
I thought you'd like facts.
We love facts. I love facts.
I wouldn't have mentioned it. I'm English, and you know that politeness is our fundamental religion.
Yeah.
But they do pertain to this issue, so may I say some of them?
Please,
if they
please
inconvenience
do.
you, I'll stop saying them. The pandemic created at least 40 new big pharma billionaires. Pharmaceutical corporations like Moderna and Pfizer made $1,000 of profit every second from the COVID-19 vaccine. More than two-thirds of Congress received campaign funding from pharmaceutical companies in the 2020 election. Pfizer chairman Albert Bourla told Time magazine in July 2020 that his company was developing a COVID vaccine for the good of humanity, not for money. And of course, Pfizer made $100 billion in profit in 2022. And may I just mention, finally, and this is also a fact, that you, the American public, funded the development of that. The German public funded the BioNTech vaccine. When it came to the profits, they took the profits. When it came to the funding, you paid for the funding. All I'm querying is this.
Yes.
Is if you have an economic system in which pharmaceutical companies benefit hugely from medical emergencies, where a military-industrial complex benefits from war, where energy companies benefit from energy crises, you are going to generate states of perpetual crisis, where the interests of ordinary people separate from the interests of the elite.
So we have people saying that he's being targeted because he asks questions. He's not on the left, he's not on the right. He says he doesn't even vote. So obviously he does ask the tough questions, and he does lay out important facts. Facts that I'm inclined to believe the mainstream media don't want people knowing. Facts that I'm inclined to believe the mainstream media want people to be ignorant of. They don't want people to make up their own minds with the information that is out there. So they will rather propagandize the situation and tell you that if you believe these things or if you question these things, you are a conspiracy theorist. Now, we know Russell Brand is not completely innocent. He has a past. We know he has a history of drugs. We know he has addiction. In the past, he has struggled with that. He's basically moved from one addiction to another. He's been very open about that. He's gotten in trouble with how he speaks about women. In a documentary, he spoke about a news anchor saying about, seeing her with her knickers on or something to that effect. That's inappropriate. That is unacceptable in a workplace, obviously. And it's things like that that has got him into trouble. And he has lost a couple of jobs over the years as a result, especially in the UK. I think when he came to America, he had all these new opportunities. So all said they felt ready to speak only after being approached by reporters. Several said they felt compelled to do so given Brand's newfound prominence as an online wellness influencer with millions of followers on YouTube and other sites.
I actually know who this is about, and I have the receipts. I was contacted in June by a journalist regarding a video I made about a certain celebrity and a weekend that we shared together. The video is kind of viral. It's on my page somewhere if you want to go see it. And that certain somebody was, as most of you will be aware, Mr. Brand. They weren't going to use my story because it didn't fit the narrative for their documentary. because he wasn't an asshole to me. But here are some of the messages. Obviously, I will take out the person's name and stuff. We had a phone call. She contacted me for more information and I didn't contact her back because I kind of felt like it would be mean. Anyway, there you go. Put your bets on. It's a documentary about the one and only Mr. Russell Brand.
So one of the women, she didn't go to the police, but she did say she went to a clinic and got all of, the treatment that she needed and examinations done. So that in itself is evidence as well. But people are always going to question why the first time they spoke up about this is to the press and not the police. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.